Hi everybody, Miss Judy here, and we are going to have some fun with Art Outside the Box this evening. Today we're going to do a little abstract art, and we're following the example of one of my favorite abstract artists, and that is Wasily Kandinsky. He was a Russian artist that lived in the early 1900s. He didn't even start painting until he was in his early 30s when he moved to Paris from Russia, where he lived out his life. So he was, they say he was the forerunner of abstract art, and one of his favorite themes, I'll show you a picture here of some of his work, was circular patterns. So you can see these are very simple, very elementary, and then you get into something that's a little bit more abstract and detailed with this one. But a lot of his work was based on color theory, which is pretty fascinating in itself as a part of artwork. And you may look at this and it looks pretty easy to do. I think he's probably using oil paints here, but I did an exercise with acrylics and it turned out it's not so easy. So what we're gonna do is work on a small abstract that you can frame, and actually once framed, it looks pretty nice. I've got a very inexpensive frame right here with a mat. And this piece is about a 9x9. So that's what we'll work on today. And we'll just need a few materials, and I'll be right back and we'll get started. Thanks. All right, you just need a few things today to work with. I've got some watercolor paper because I'm using watercolor. If you're going to be using straight acrylic paints, then go ahead and use any kind of paper canvas that you want to. But I like the watercolor paper because I want to have some blending of the colors. That's part of my exercise that I'm doing here. Let's see, you'll need some water. So I've got 2 cups over here so I can keep working with clean water. Some kind of a palette and a paper plate works just ducky for that. A couple of paint brushes. I've also got some cotton swabs here, and I've got some paints. Now I'm using acrylics and I'm just going to water these down. This is what we have on hand, and they work just fine. So I have taken my paper and I've divided it into 9 equal squares just to kind of give me a guideline, and then when I'm finished I'll go ahead and erase these lines. But I'm just going to start out with a couple different colors. So I'll take a little bit of red, I'll dab these on my plate here. This is actually called alizarin crimson. It's really, really pretty. And then I'm going to use some violet. And it just takes a little bit because I'm going to water this down. I like this bright orange, so we'll try a little bit of that. It looks like I'm getting low on that, so you can tell I like it, but that should be enough. Actually, I've got another one here. And that one's low too. Trying to remember what we might have painted orange, but okay, that's plenty. We'll do green. And a little yellow. And some blue, and I think that is going to work for our palette. All right, so I've got my colors ready. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I'm not gonna do a whole lot of planning with this, I'm just gonna let it flow. But I do want to show you something that might be helpful to you, and this has to do with color theory. So in this, you can see even where these colors are sort of running together, I'm getting a different color. So for instance, yellow and blue make green. The green and the yellow make kind of a yellow-green. The pink and the violet make a red-violet, and those all work really well together. But I did another piece yesterday, just playing around with, and I put some different colors together, and these did not work so well at all. So on the color wheel, for instance, let's use this for an example, this purple and, or I would call it violet and yellow are opposites on the color wheel, and they are complementary, but when you mix them together, you get mud. And the same is the case for green and red, although this is an orange, it's in the red family. They really set each other off when they're next to each other, but if you mix them together, you get mud. So that's what you want to avoid in this, and I'll just show you a couple different ways you can do that. All right, so we've got our colors, we've got our clean water, a paintbrush, and then I've got my grid here so that I can keep everything separated, and I can go in and erase that when I'm finished. But I'm just going to start by getting some water on this Q-tip here, and I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to go pretty much to the edges here, and just get that a little bit saturated with plain water. And I'll take my brush and get that a little wet, and I'm going to start with this blue. So water my paint down a little bit and put that on there. It almost looks like tie-dye. This is going to spread out where the water is. Here's another fun thing you can do. I've got a little spray bottle with water, so I can take that, squirt that a little bit, and the water will move around. I'll get some splatters. Just don't add too much, or you'll end up with a little sopping wet mess. So I'm gonna blot up some of this extra water. But there, that's kind of a cool look. This will take some time to dry, so don't be moving your paper around or you'll end up with a little bit of a mess. The other thing you can do, and this will give you a fun effect, is take regular table salt, sprinkle the salt on here. It kind of crystallizes, moves the paint around, and that looks kind of fun too. All right, so I'm gonna go to my next square. Now, I know I've got blue right here, so I don't want to put red next to it, because if it bleeds in together, I'll have a little puddle of mud. So let's put something that works well with blue. And I say, let's do this one in green. So once again, get that nice and wet, and I'll go all the way to the edge. I think I even want it to touch this blue. So there's some of the blue already soaked into it. Clean my brush off. And we'll do this red. It's a really pretty color. So what we should get when these mix together is like a red violet. And I'm going to spread that all the way out to the edge and just make a regular circle out of that. And we'll put a little spritz on that. Yeah, it's a fun process. It's very experimental. You never know what you're going to end up with, but it's good to learn about color and how they interact together. And you might end up with a pretty cool piece of art to hang on your wall. Make sure to keep washing your brush. All right, so I'm just going to continue on here with my next square, and I think I know I don't want to use green because that will make mud right here, but I think probably yellow, a nice bright yellow is going to be good. And use my Q-tip again. Now you can do this any number of ways. You can make this larger, you can make it smaller. Let's add a little salt to this red too, just for fun. Here we go. You can do two colors, like say if you wanted to just use the red and the blue with the white showing through, that would be kind of a cool patriotic theme. Some people have even chosen to do it in black and white, which looks kind of neat. You get some nice grays. All right, so I'm gonna go with yellow. See what happens here. And just splat that down, move it around a little bit. Get it right up to the edge. So this is gonna kind of bleed together and I'll have a nice orange. And we'll give that a little squirt. A little bit of the salt. And wipe the salt off at the end. All right, I'm gonna continue. All right, I finished mine up and I gave it time to dry. And I had some happy little accidents on this one with some of the blending it did. So here's what it looks like. You can see there's kind of some fun, different color mixes there and some fun patterns in this. I kind of like how it turned out. So this is an easy project. It's a good learning experience as far as working with color, and it framed can make a very nice, fun piece of abstract art to hang in your home. All right, I hope you enjoyed being with me tonight. I had fun as always, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Make sure to watch us on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Take care. Bye-bye.